Thanks for watching the video today, and I gotta say I have a little bit of a problem here because the video I had planned on making today involved this right here. This pile is palm trees that were recently chipped out of these trees. And this little pile here of compost was something I was gonna do an experiment with. That's chipped up palm. I was gonna try and see how you can compost palm down and turn it into a viable input for a garden. Those palms are right off my property, so I'm kind of staying within the tenet of using what I have on property to build soil in the garden beds right here behind me. I had an idea of how I was going to compost that palm because palm is a little bit unique. It's a monocot. It's not really softwood or hardwood. It's kind of its own thing. And we were going to try and break that down in a compost pile. But I have a problem. Because my landscaper neighbor, who actually chipped up all that palm and left me with that nice, neat little pile, I kind of got talking to him and I said, well, do you have any more? Can you give me another load of palm so I can have more to work with? And this is what he ended up bringing. So not exactly palm, but we have a big, huge pile of mulch to work with, and now the plans have changed because this pile isn't full of palm. This is actually eucalyptus. So today's video is going to be all about building beds using the Back to Eden gardening method with eucalyptus. I'm going to be testing a few theories in this video. One, I'm going to be stress testing the idea of, can you build soil with the Back to Eden method? Here's some perfect mulch to try it in Southern California. Another thing that I'm going to be testing is, can you use eucalyptus? A lot of people are probably like, that's eucalyptus. It's got all sorts of plant growth inhibiting properties in the leaves. You don't want to use it at all. Well, we're going to try it on one of the beds. I'm going to take all of this mulch, or a good bit of it, and pile it super thick on one of the beds over here in the garden. And then come summertime, or in about a month, I'm going to plant tomatoes into this wood chip mulch, and we're going to see how well those tomatoes do. This wasn't planned. I just came up with this about 15 minutes ago because this mulch arrived this morning, so we are adapting on the fly. But hey, what are you going to do when you get all this nice looking free mulch? So this bed right here is the one that's going to get that thick layer of mulch. It's 5 feet wide. It's about 50 feet long, going from memory here, and I'm going to put a big thick layer of mulch on. I'm going for something like 6 inches thick. Now, it might not be uniformly thick across this bed because this bed does dip a little bit in the center. I'm going to try and make the bed top as flat as possible, so some areas might be thick, some areas might be thin, but we are going to load it up really, really heavy on this bed here. I'm going to put down some biochar before I cover it up because, you know, why not add biochar if you have it and it's going to get covered anyway? So we're just going to dump it on. The Beyonce compost is at the other end. I'll probably just cover that up with the wood chips as well, which will really help build up soil on that end. So that is the plan. This bed is going Back to Eden style, something I never really thought I would do, but it's the perfect time to try it because I have all this mulch. I have a bed that has never been in production. This isn't the tomato bed that I'm depending on to produce a lot of tomatoes. That's up there behind the camera. So I have some time, I have some mulch, and I have some space. Let's give it a shot and see what happens. And if it works or doesn't work, we'll find out. Let's bring on the eucalyptus because we're going back to Eden. Here we are, first load down. It's a pretty good mix for what we can get here in Southern California. Eucalyptus, so you have actual wood versus palm. There's a lot of leaves in here, which are going to help break down all the more mature carbon. There are a lot of sticks like this, longer ones. I mean, this is probably 12 inches long. I'm not going to try and sort any of that out. We'll just let the mycelium and nature have at it. So it's all going into here. If there's any massive chunks, stuff that you would burn versus compost, well, I'll pull that out, but these things are just gonna get buried with the rest of it. Now we got a lot of work to do. As I'm getting a little bit more into this mulch pile, I'm quickly realizing that this is not just pure eucalyptus. This is actually a blend of several trees. They probably went to somebody's house, did a full tree pruning, and I'm just smelling and seeing bits of eucalyptus. But there is other tree blended into here, including some palm, plus the palm pile that I started with, which is a little pile buried under that big pile. So I don't know how fair of a test this is going to be in terms of eucalyptus mulch, but there is some, so it's a bit of a factor. So really what we're going to be testing here is the back to Eden method for building soil on crappy soil in Southern California. Whether there's enough eucalyptus in there to matter or not, I don't know. With all these trials that I'm doing like this, I really don't like to take them on unless I know an exit plan if things just don't work and they go awry. In this case, the exit plan would be as follows. It's just simple. Just scrape off all the mulch. I can put it into the pathways. I can put it on the other side of the fence that runs right along here. So it's not going to be terrible in terms of undoing this if I ever had to undo it. There will be some positive interaction at the soil surface now where the bottom layer of mulch and the top layer of soil are going to have some nice interaction. So I'm going to get some soil formation or some beneficial effects. If I have to just eventually scrape all the coarse stuff off the top or rake the coarse stuff off and put it into the pathways, not a big deal. But if you are going to do these types of trials, think about how you're going to undo them if they go wrong, and don't do them in beds that you are dependent upon for production. There we go, all done. A nice thick layer of wood chips laid down over the surface of this bed. What do you think? Was this a good move? Was this a bad move? Could I have done things differently? What would you have done? Leave a comment below and let me know what you think. I'm curious to see how this plays out myself. I'm going to be putting tomatoes into here, so I'm just going to pull back the mulch, plant the tomatoes into a hole in the mulch, but I'm going to plant them in the soil that's underneath all this mulch. And then I'm going to make sure to add some nice fertilizer to those holes when I plant. I am worried a little bit here about nitrogen lockup. I'm curious to see how quick this will break down. There's a lot of mulch here, but there is a lot of greens along with the chunkier stuff, so I'm hoping that will help it break down a little quicker. Pretty happy with the results. I never would have done this if I hadn't gotten that load of mulch, and the timing just worked out perfectly. So back to Eden method trial to build soil here in Southern California. I still have a lot of mulch left, so the big question now is, what do I do with all the existing mulch that I have sitting on the driveway still? I may go in between the pathways, dig those out, put that soil onto the beds, and then fill in the pathways with the mulch. I might just mulch the pathways themselves. I'm not totally sure yet. It's gonna rain here, and it's kind of starting to rain now, so I'm gonna have to work around the weather a little bit, but project is done. Took about an hour. We'll see how the results turn out come summer. I'll be sure to follow up on the results and show you those tomatoes later on, and maybe we can even take that bed right there as a control and just do tomatoes in there and just see how these two beds compare. So stay tuned for that in the months and weeks ahead. Thanks for watching. Until next time, be nice, be thankful, and do the work.